we're both the arm out on the couch guy, and this is
It's good for the wide shot.
We can no. Okay.
Oh, my hand is like I went to do it, and then my hand was stuck. Welcome everybody to what is now episode 2 of the Backlog Club. I'm your host Jordan with my co-host Jake.
Hello.
And today we're going to be talking about, I think, one of Jake and I's favorite games, Metroid Dread.
Top 10.
Top 5 for me, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go back and forth between Metroid Zero Mission and Dread being my favorite of the Metroid games. If they did Zero Mission in Dread style, Zero Mission would be my favorite.
Mercury Steam, please.
Yes.
Please.
Do all of them. Do a whole Metroid collection of all the 2D games in this engine. Do it. That's what I want.
I was going to say it's the Steam engine. Then I'm like, I don't know that that's what that's called.
I don't think so.
I don't want to be incorrect publicly. But yeah, Metroid Dread released in October of 2021. Rumored for a long time. Everybody was waiting for Metroid 5.
Yeah.
Because I think the Metroid game to release, the newest one, was Other M. Like an actual new addition
to
the Metroid lore. Because Samus Returns was just a remake of Return of Samus on the Game Boy.
Yeah.
Also developed by Mercury Steam, and is another...
That was their intro to Metroid.
Yeah, that was Nintendo. Well, yeah, and Nintendo had worked with them. They did Castlevania, the 3DS version. And so they're like, wait a minute, if you can do the Vania, why don't we let you do the Metroid of Metroidvania?
And it worked.
It worked out great. And so, yeah, Metroid Dread. It was the newest edition. It takes place after Fusion in the timeline.
Yep.
Fusion was for a long time the most recent.
I think 20 years.
Yeah, for 20 years. Let me tell you what's going on, where we find Samus as we begin the game. So, after the events of Metroid Fusion, where Samus was infected by the X parasites and cured with the DNA of the last Metroid, she finds herself on another mission for the Galactic Federation, because they've been great employers so far, to investigate a research station that was using the new headline enemies and enemies in the cover art and of the amiibo, the Emmy.
The Emmy.
They were using the Emmys, Sundays at 8, to just do research, as the Federation has been known to do.
Yeah.
Everybody went missing. Nobody knows what happened.
Shocker.
So Samus, being the cool, great lady that she is, bounty hunter, was hired to go to the planet ZDR, figure out what's going on. Upon entering ZDR, she runs into a member of the Chozo race, which is the race that raised her.
Definitely not her father.
It's definitely not. They don't have similar looking gear at all.
They don't have the same arm or anything.
She runs into the Giga Chad known as Ravenbeak, and then gets bonked on the head and forgets all about the Varia suit and how to use any of the abilities she's acquired thus far. Classic Samus. Hit her on the head hard enough, she'll just do a fat reset.
Give her the old bonk. She loses everything.
Basic synopsis.
Yeah.
Samus is just committing genocide once again.
And to me, now that I know a little bit more about Zelda after our last episode, it's kind of the same thing. We have a lot of the exact same bosses throughout all of the Metroid games. We run into Kraid again. We run into wait, is it just Kraid actually?
Yeah, I think it's just Kraid. I'm gonna be real with you.
Yeah, no,
because
I was expecting a lot more of them, but yeah, it's just
Homeboy
Kraid.
gets cloned a lot.
Oh,
that's what it is. They're not the same. They're just clones. Yeah, Ridley was actually the same person for a while until Other M, where he was put down.
He's not in this game.
He's not in this game.
Yeah,
because I think Samus has had enough of him because he killed her family.
Oh,
you didn't know that, did you? See,
I've played all the Metroid games, but the Metroid games don't really do a great job of storytelling, in my opinion.
Yeah, you kind of, the story is just the events unfolding before you.
Yeah.
If you read the manuals, you got deeper lore. Like Ridley being the leaders of the space pirates. Like, it's from that time where, like, in Nintendo games, they did tell you the story on the screen. They gave you the little text boxes, but then you played the game.
The 10 minutes of text box.
But there have been comics and other things in the Metroid franchise.
If it's not in the game, it's not in my head canon. Like I'm not gonna do like expanded universe content unless it's a game or like it has to be a good YouTube video that tells me, all right, so this is everything that happened leading up to this game. And I'm
Right.
like, ooh, cool.
There's lots of those on Metroid. You should
Oh
check them
yeah.
out. You guys should check them out too. The Metroid lore is actually very, very cool and interesting.
Yeah. It just feels like in the games they're like, eh.
So now that I've given you the synopsis, you find yourself in the planet ZDR, bonked on the head, and you're just making your way through. Classic Metroid style. Everything is back. You've got some new moves. You've got new enemies. Samus has a new look,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is actually in the entire franchise her best
Yes.
series of designs.
I love teal as a color. And
Mhm.
I'm just looking over at your mug right now with Samus beautifully painted across the mug. Yeah, you have to we're on manual focus. But
There you go.
I love that color and I love white accents. White accents are so good.
Yep.
And it just makes it the best. And then it's only good for like a little part of the beginning of the game, and then it just turns back into classic red, orange, and yellow.
I'm sorry, the gravity suit is the best. That purple, red, and white with the green going down the front
Yeah,
is Samus's best design she's ever had.
I think that one right there is that on the mug. Sorry, audio listeners. I'm a professional.
The audios, that's what we should call them now.
Sario audio is always. I always want to say that,
Sario audio.
but yeah,
I think her best series of designs is in this game.
yeah, 100%.
Because it used to be that Samus wasn't able, like you couldn't tell if it was a girl or a guy. Like that was the big secret. Oh, Samus is a girl. That was like the big secret in the first Metroid. But now they've really done a lot, especially with like her animations and in the cutscenes, to display not just like her fearlessness or her power, but like also like you can tell like that's a definitive feminine figure. Like she moves with like a fluidity and a grace.
Yeah.
Where you can be like, oh, that is a woman, but then also she just does cool stuff like these just slow. I think the first boss where you get the phantom cloak.
Yeah.
That like end cutscene where the thing's like freaking out and writhing on the ground, and she just raises her blaster and just bam. Just cold clocks him with a charge shot.
She's just a cool person. Like I mean, I don't really care about who the character is. It's just like if they're cool, if they're funny, if they have some redeeming quality, I like them.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if us two dudes need to talk about cool girl main character. But
I mean, she is the coolest girl main character in gaming. IMO. So.
Big strides were made in the 80s with her.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's a cool story.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
bird DNA does a lot.
She's a big bird.
Yeah, she's like 2/3 bird at this point. They keep changing the amount of bird in Samus's DNA.
She's a Metroid, an X, and she's
still a Metroid in this one.
Yeah, and she got a beak in her bones. I don't know where I was going with that.
Anyway, so that's the synopsis. That's a very long-winded synopsis.
Well,
as we went
work
around
on that.
As we went, we just love this game.
It's just
so it's easy for us to get lost in the sauce.
Let's talk about the story a little bit, because for me, this is like I kind of started to allude to. The story is just a little weak for me, but I don't really play Metroid for the story. I play it to kill some goons, some space pirates.
Yeah.
I love.
Do we kill any space pirates in this game?
We don't need to worry about the details here. All right. Like I said, I don't really care about the story that much. What do you think about the story?
I think it's really cool. I think I agree with you. I never really play Metroid for the story. I play it for like the crisp cool gameplay, which we'll talk about. But I really do think the story of this game, they actually made strides. They had cool cutscenes and the flow of the story, as you're doing what Samus does every time, where you're going through, you're trying to exterminate the Emmy, and you're also uncovering more, or you end up finding out more about the Chozo, like where Samus came from.
Yeah.
Because we've only known so much for so long. I
Mhm.
mean, there was definitely comics and other supplementary material outside of the games,
Yeah.
but it's cool, like you said, for people like yourself who are like, well, if it's not in the game, I'm not really ever gonna find out about it. It's cool that they're giving you more details about like, you meet the dude who's basically her dad, who like trained her
Yeah.
to be as cool as she is.
Mhm.
And he also is like really cool. And then you meet, the like Quiet Robe, the nice bird guy who
Other
kind of
bird.
who really gave Samus that part of her personality where she has like compassion, like she did for the Metroid baby. Like you can
Mhm.
see where Samus got the different facets of her personality, and
Yeah.
she got her warrior spirit from Ravenbeak, and her integrity and her compassion from like saving the animals in Super Metroid.
Yeah, I do think of the Metroid games, it has the best storytelling because there's actual cutscenes and stuff, and it's not just Adam's going to feed it to you, you know?
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just Metroid's just not a story game for me. My biggest complaint about the story is that it takes 10 minutes to actually start any Metroid game. I noticed that so much because when I streamed it, I was like, all right, I want to skip past this stuff so I can get to the gameplay. And then like whenever I try and do B-roll for Game Boys, I like to use Fusion or Zero Mission,
Mhm.
but then I don't have like a save file ready because I'll like put it on my flash card or something. And then I have to just spam A for 5 minutes to get to somewhere where I can actually play the game.
There are a lot of speedrunners who will agree with you
Yeah.
because every save file I think in every Metroid game starts after the opening cutscene
Yeah.
because it's like I don't want to lose those 10 minutes.
Because it's like, do I really need a full recap of what happened in Fusion before we get to the game? I think, like, yeah, because eventually you're gonna be like, why is this goo attaching to me and giving me health?
Mhm.
Like the 2/3 of the way through the game, but
Why is that gusher floating towards me?
like I don't think it's really necessary for it. I don't know because like this game did get a lot of people into Metroid, myself included. So like a little bit of backstory helps, but at the same time, just speed it up a little bit. We don't need
Right.
the entire game of Fusion is pretty much laid out for you in the first 10 minutes of the game.
Well, when did Fusion come out?
In 2004, 2003.
I don't know. That's like 18 years. That's
I
almost 20
know,
years.
but I'm just like can you just speed it up? Make it 5 minutes instead of 10 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of do need the. I would say, like, I understand, yeah, it's a while, but I really do feel like the context is helpful
Yeah.
for you to have a
Or
better experience.
hear me out with this one. A skip button.
That probably as well.
And if there is, and I'm just ranting right now for no reason, I'm sorry. But I feel like I spam every button every time. Or it's maybe like a Super Monkey Ball thing where you have to hold the button. You don't know what I'm talking about. But
No.
yeah.
A lot of the cutscenes you just press start and then minus to skip
I did notice that like once we're in
later.
the game, but
I think boss I think that only works after you've seen the cutscene once
yeah,
though, like for
I
bosses.
think so too. Gameplay. That's the big thing with this game.
Ooh.
It is just beautiful.
Oh baby. That's crisp. It is crisp.
It's so fluid. It feels I just it feels right. You play the game. If you played like any of the Game Boy Advance games, they feel good, but then you play this game, I just everything hits.
Mhm. They definitely made some changes I wasn't a fan of because I'll talk about that first. I think one of
Yeah.
them was the way wall jumping works now. You can't single jump up the same wall over and over again. That used to
Yeah.
be something you could do in older Metroids,
Yeah.
and they changed that. But
It's more Mario style now.
yeah, it's more Mario style, and that comes with its upsides and its downsides.
Yeah.
It's an easier because wall jumping in the old ones used to be hard because you had to hold towards the wall and then press jump and away from the wall
Yes.
at the same time. But once you got it, it was like once you got in a rhythm, you could
Yeah.
do it. But I definitely understand some of the Shine Spark puzzles in order to get 100% completion.
Yeah.
or the speed booster puzzles, I think is its actual name in the game.
Yeah.
You used to do some tricky wall jumps and some tricky platforming, and like spark saving on slopes and things like
Mhm.
just I understand why the change was made,
Yeah.
but and
You
it doesn't really actually overall affect my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think it hurts the game. I think it helps the game. I liked it just because I definitely struggled, especially when you play it on like an actual Game Boy when you don't emulate it. The D-pad's fairly small
You're
on Game Boys.
gonna
That's a
break
complaint of
you're
mine.
gonna break that thing when you're trying to get that
Yeah,
precise timing. You're like, go, go,
because
go, go.
I'm known as the Game Boy guy, so I love my Game Boys, and I don't emulate Game Boy games unless it's on something that feels like a Game Boy. But the Game Boy Advance has a pretty small D-pad, and
Yep.
for things like that, it's like, but I think just making it as accessible as possible really helped the game because
Mhm.
I think it's the best-selling Metroid game so far.
Oh yeah, I think by a very wide margin.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
I think it's like 3 million copies, somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there. I mean, I could look up the number, but I don't.
It
I
doesn't
don't
really
really. It
matter.
doesn't really matter. It's
That's
a
not what
lot.
we're here to talk about, but
It sold a lot of Switch OLEDs. That's all I know.
yeah, it sold me. I think accessibility for the game, there's definitely some tough parts to this game still. Like,
Hmm. What
I
was
think, not to jump to the end, I think Ravenbeak might be the hardest boss I've ever played in any game.
he was a surprise, especially because I've grown up playing Metroid, so I
Yeah.
settled in pretty quickly. But yeah, when I got to the end, I was playing this. I was procrastinating doing college stuff when I was playing this, especially. So
Yeah.
I was trying to time crunch, and I remember playing this with a buddy of mine. We were in a Discord channel, and we both we were playing it not in tandem, but like we were kind of going at the same pace, and so
Yeah.
we both got to Ravenbeak at the same time. Or I think one of us got there first, and we were just like, "You are not ready for what is about to happen to you," because he's just got he has all your moves.
Yeah.
He has all of your moves,
Mhm.
and it is wild. Because that man, oh gosh, he's got the 3-hit combo that he does, like his dash melee thing.
Yeah.
And it took me on this last playthrough. It took me a while because I forgot like what move I was supposed to counter to enter the damage phase.
Oh,
Because I
yeah.
know once the hardest part of Ravenbeak is probably the second phase where he's flying, and then it's just if you know the trick, which I'll tell you guys, if you can just mash, if you can mash really hard when you're doing those counter animations, those
Mhm.
damage windows on Ravenbeak, you will breeze through that fight.
Yeah.
Um, Mashing is so much faster than using super missiles. It's actually
Wait,
ridiculous.
really?
Yeah, when you get those damage windows, you just want to mash the button as fast as you can. Definitely was a surprise jump in difficulty fighting Ravenbeak.
Yeah.
Just because he has everything you have. He's got the flash shift. He's got like some nuke power bomb thing he can
Yeah.
do. It really was nice to be like, yeah, this is the guy who taught Samus how to do everything.
And
So
she's had so many concussions at the beginning of games that she just doesn't know who her father is.
yeah, basically. Although I think because she remembered right at the end when she saw him, she was like, she had those flashbacks where she's like, oh yeah, I was in the tube and they like gave me your DNA.
This is when, like, the story is just like, what?
What? Yeah.
She looks nothing like a bird.
She moves like a bird though. That's how she's able to get into the ball, man.
Uh, I never thought about that.
Yeah. I mean, in the Prime game, she just turns into pure energy and then the suit like holds her essence within the ball.
Yeah.
Or like it tries to tell you in Prime 1 that she just curls up real tight and then goes and it just bam, just locks in the ball. I don't know. It's Chozo magic is what
Yeah.
I have told my brain over the years.
I've just never really thought about that, especially because, like, looking at your mug again, her shoulder pads are each the size of the ball she rolls into.
But those are not the cases for the balls. Those are shield generators. Those are shield generators. That's where like her energy tanks.
See, the more I'm learning about the story,
Yeah, the more you're like,
the less it makes sense, which it never made sense from the
this
start.
bird lady is crazy. She
We
aren't
got this
afraid of
mother
anything.
brain, and then we've got these gushers, as you put it. I love that. And then we've got Big Bird coming around. That's her father.
Oh my gosh, Big Bird.
Samus, you're the last Metroid. Oh, wow. I need your DNA to conquer the galaxy. No, I am your father.
It is a shock the first time you play the game. You're like, what?
Yeah.
That's supposed to be like, I know it's not like how we imagine parents in our world, but
Well, no, those aren't her parents. He's not like her dad. Her
Oh.
dad. She had real human parents.
Okay.
They were killed by Ridley. He's her
Oh, yeah, you
adopted
said
dad
that.
who
Okay.
raised her.
That makes a lot more sense. But then
Oh, dude, you've been thinking this whole time?
yeah. I'm like,
That's
she's
funny.
not a bird.
Yeah, no, she's just got like weird bird magic DNA coursing through her veins
Okay.
and has like some weird mental connection with her suit where she starts feeling really, really anxious. Her suit goes away. God, I hate Metroid Other M. That story's so bad.
I wanna I wanna play that game.
That's a fun game to play.
Okay.
I mean, I know, like, quick, we're talking about Dread, but that is a
Yeah.
fun game to play. The story is really bad.
Okay.
Really bad. But Metroid Dread blows it out of the water as like the most fun Metroid game to play.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about gameplay. I gotta say, in terms of gameplay, some of my favorite things to do were, as I talked about before, those like speed booster puzzles for like 100% completion. Like some of that was so much fun where you're like boosting into slopes. Those of you who've done it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, I'd recommend it. It doesn't take very long.
I hate the speed boosters, honest. I could
You
never get
hate
it
it?
down.
Oh, it's so cool.
It's because I'm bad. That's why. Like
Well-
it's very cool.
I'll accept that answer.
I'm just bad at the game.
Dude, there's one I remember where you like have to continually boost into slopes to keep your momentum because you got to run like between 2 or 3 rooms.
Mm.
And there's a lot of sequence breaks you can do if you use the speed booster like early.
Yeah.
You can get the gravity suit early, you can get the screw attack early and the space jump. So then when you go and fight the boss where you get the storm missiles from,
Yeah.
you can just kill it with the screw attack. You can do a speed boost into it and then kill it with the screw attack.
Yeah.
Because the screw attack, they point out, is strong against electric covered enemies. So that thing just gets killed like within like a minute. I think my other favorite boss, talking about gameplay, was the one when you have to go to Kataris and turn on the lava pump again to unfreeze that area.
Oh yeah.
The one that like shoots the pink stuff and you gotta jump through the pink waves things that it shoots out at you from one side of the wall, like while the fans are spinning. You may not know what I'm talking about. You can also kill that one really quickly by like after you get to that section,
Mm-hmm.
you can do the speed booster because you're running into the wind. So you'll do the speed booster and then you save it for when the boss's head comes back in and you can boost right up into it. It'll kill it instantly. It's over. Which again, another one of the coolest cutscenes where Samus is just like hanging off the edge and she just like holds her gun on the lava just to make sure that thing is dead.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
Like as you said, the speed booster with the fans. The only thing I can think of is the Ravenbeak fight. Oh wait, no. Oh.
You know what one I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, now I know.
Hold on, I'm gonna look up its name. You talk about what your favorite bosses were.
I don't know if there's one thing that like stood out from the rest. Is like, oh, I love this one. I want more of this. Other than like, I just loved the Ravenbeak fight because it's hard enough that I like the challenge, but it's not too hard that I'm like, all right, I'm done with this game. I'm just not gonna finish it. Let me load up the ending sequence so I know how this game ends. It's not like that.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It is always terrifying after the fact when he gets big from the X. Is that what it
Oh, where he turns into like that abomination
and
while
you're
you're like in Metroid form.
Yeah.
Which again, I don't want to cut you off. When she gets so mad and like absorbs his energy,
Yeah.
she's just like, ah, like screaming.
Uh-huh.
I love
It's
it.
good.
I love it.
Yeah, I just like every time I play that part of the game, I'm like, no, please don't. I have no health. I'm gonna die. Please. It's nothing. Okay.
He Ravenbeak, I think, did surprisingly less damage than I remember him doing on my
Really?
most recent playthrough. Because I was just going through it. I wasn't going for completion. I picked
Yeah.
up what energy tanks and things I could. I think I still only had 3 power bombs and like
Yeah, I did. I had less of the nuke bombs
yeah.
and then my first playthrough, which was weird because neither of them. I'm never the kind of guy, especially in Metroid games, to go for. Oh, I'm gonna go out of my way to find this energy tank and stuff.
Yeah, it's that boss. It's the one that like hangs in the back, like
Yeah,
hangs from the ceiling.
that one wasn't bad.
No, that one's one of my favorites, honestly.
I
Love
I
that one.
wouldn't call it my favorite, but
Oh dang.
almost every boss I get like frustrated, and if you're like someone just in the area, you'd be like, "Why are you playing this game? You sound like you hate it." And it's like, "No, I love it. I'm just frustrated that I'm not winning."
Yeah, I did that, but I get that though, because the gold Chozo robots and the silver one in that one room where you have to fight 2 of them at the same time. I was stuck on that for an hour. I would have finished that game so much sooner had I not had to put the controller down and take a break because I was like, I'm just too frustrated. I'm making too many stupid mistakes.
Yeah. I think my least favorite part of the game. I don't mind the Chozo soldiers, warriors, whatever they are,
The stick boys.
the staff boys, but I absolutely hate those robots. The double robots that are like mini
Yeah,
bosses.
that do that red like charging attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys are my least favorite.
I cannot stand them. They're the worst part of the game, but still it's a challenge that I enjoy. So,
No, and you can like avoiding them it's just you get killed because you made a mistake, and avoiding them is a good challenge.
yeah.
Like you can like the flash shift being in the game is probably one of my other favorite things. That like little zoop zoop zoop.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good, especially like if you're trying to dodge an Emmy and you can jump over him and then go zoop 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 across the room,
Yep.
and you're like, get me out of here.
I also like I maybe that's my biggest complaint with, and it's not something that, oh, they need to change this because it's a part of the Metroid DNA, but no pun intended. The I don't really like games where you have to dodge a lot because I'm more of the glass cannon type of fighter. I just like to punch and kick and do everything I need to hurt them, and like if I have to dodge every now and then, great. I really don't like when there's nothing I can do but dodge on a move. Like there's nothing I can do to stop it. But I don't know.
except dodge.
Yeah, like dodging is the only thing to do. I don't like those, but overall it's a good game. I have complaints, kind of like if any Scott the Woz fans are out there, he just dropped a video like yesterday about Tears of the Kingdom isn't perfect. He loves that game. I
Mhm.
love Metroid, but there's still things I could complain about.
Well, no game is perfect.
Yeah.
I'm not even under the illusion that Spider-Man 2 is going to be perfect.
Yeah. We're going to love that game, but there's still things that I'm going to bring up
Yeah.
that I don't like.
Well, and I love the first one, but like there's still complaints I have. And so like same
Yeah.
thing with Metroid. I wish I could single wall jump a lot easier because it still can be done.
Yeah.
I know I was like they took it out. I think it still can be done, but like it's like speedrunner tier.
Yeah.
Like you got to be a different kind of gamer to
and
do it
maybe it wasn't
consistently.
meant to be in the game.
Maybe it wasn't meant to be done that
Yeah.
way. Yeah, but then again, they hand speedrunners and gamers these products, and they're like, "Please play it the way we want," and we just go,
No.
"No." It's like the Bugs Bunny meme where he's just like, "No."
I don't think so, Doc.
Which, speaking of developers and stuff like that, one of the big points when this game came out, almost 2 years ago now. Actually, when this goes live, it'll probably be like exactly 2 years ago. But people were complaining that this game was $60. They're like, it's a 2D game. It's not worth $60. And I just want to say, 2 years too late, you're wrong. This game is worth every penny. I still think it's worth $60. Nintendo is one of those companies that doesn't like to do sales anymore, but this game I think still holds its value 2 years later, unlike some Nintendo games that should probably be in the Nintendo Selects category for $20.
Name one.
Um,
Name the one that you're thinking of right now.
I'm blanking on New Super Mario Bros. Wii U Deluxe.
Oh, what? That's not on sale. Like that's still.
I mean, it's probably one of the games that's on sale the most, but it's also one of the best-selling Switch games. What my point is here, this is a good game, and it's worth $60. Just because something is 2D does not mean that it's not worth money. Like, I don't know.
I'm sorry. It being 2D allows them to create some of the most beautiful visuals I have seen in a game. The environments. Mercury's team took so much time to craft to make ZDR look beautiful and
Yeah.
diverse with all its different zones.
Mhm.
Berenia being the underwater, like underwater base or like research station zone. You've got Gavorin being, like the jungle
Mhm.
wildlife area. You've got Artaria being, the Chozo, because this is all Chozo architecture.
Yeah.
Kataris with its like lava pool areas.
There's just really, as bad as the story is, in my opinion, the world building is pretty good.
Even like the loading screens, like when Samus is in an elevator, the way those are still even just like these cool visual, like the light going up
Those
and down her suit.
10 frames per second.
Those
yeah.
10 frames because the Switch was alive when they signed the Declaration of Independence. That's how old it is. Those lights, like, and you get quick, the way it show, you can see more of her suit, and then
It's just a
her-
pretty game.
her visor glows. It's just so cool.
Yeah. It's
Got that bird energy.
I know we just I know we just talked about how old the Switch hardware is, but Metroid Dread is one of the few games where you're like, see, you can still make good games on bad hardware that look beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, people complain all the time, and I want to make a video on this so bad. And I think I will soon. But, like, people complain about, oh, I can't play Mario Odyssey at 4K 60. Like, it's not necessary. And it's like, oh, the developers are limited by the hardware. And yes, to an extent they are. But there are very good, high quality games made on crap hardware still that just disprove that, I think.
Can I drop a hot take real quick?
Yeah.
4K is a meme, and the industry pushing that 4K 60 FPS is like the new standard was
Yeah.
ridiculous in the first place, and people expecting that is absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
We need higher frame rates,
Yep.
not higher resolution.
Yep.
I understand that resolution makes things look good. I get it. I don't like aliasing in my video games. I understand. But if you are so mind broken that you like that everyone telling you that resolution matters, that it has to hit 4K 60, that 4K 60 is what decides a good and a bad game,
Mhm.
I'm sorry. You may be kind of an idiot.
If you complain about it not being a high enough resolution, put it on a smaller screen.
Yeah, put it on a smaller screen.
Step back away from the TV. Maybe go back to couch gaming if you're on a monitor.
1440p is perfectly acceptable.
Yeah, I still think 1080p is fine.
1080p is also acceptable.
Also,
1440p for me is perfect. 1440p, 100 plus FPS, we're fine.
Yeah.
It's a good game feel.
I put a lot of money into my entertainment because all I do is play video games and watch movies and TV in my free time. So I've got the nice LG OLED that does 120 frames per second, and it has very good AI upscaling, and it makes everything look beautiful.
There you go.
And so it's like I just don't care about that stuff because it's just done for me. Anything on the Switch is already in 4K for me.
I'm just so sick. We lost the sauce somewhere in the PS4 and Xbox One gen where we were trying to target resolution instead of frame rate.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of games suffered. And I feel like Nintendo is correct by prioritizing frame rate over resolution.
Yeah.
Do
Not
I
in Pokemon.
not in Pokemon? Well, that's Game Freak
Yeah.
not
That's the
prioritizing
Pokemon company.
innovating on anything ever. So I would much rather have a game play at 1080p but feel smooth as butter
Yeah.
than have it look crisp, but I only ever see like 2 frames every 5 seconds.
Really, I just care about gameplay. If game is good, I don't care. It could be 20 frames per second, and I'm gonna love it. That's
Did you
my
love
hot take.
Ocarina of Time at 20 frames per second?
No, because
Well,
it was not a good game in my
there
opinion.
you go.
So it was okay. Let
I
me.
just have to ask.
Yeah, I'm also just gonna take a step in since this is directly after the Ocarina of Time episode. There's still good things about the game. I know there's a lot of people upset with me for my take on Ocarina of Time. It's still a good game, but my dislikes are gonna be louder than my likes on that game. So
If you're mad at Jake because he didn't like, one of the greatest games of all time, as people say, I'm not going to say that I say that because I'm sure you heard my opinions in that podcast. But if you still hate Jake and you're bitter because of that, and you're thinking of saying something mean to him because of it, just don't. That's
yeah.
just not nice. Like, he just has a different opinion. He's allowed to do that.
And I don't think anybody's gonna be upset with me that much. I think I probably am pouring salt in the wound bringing it up in the next episode.
Well,
But
give it time, ladies and gentlemen. You'll hear some hot takes from me. So,
let's get back on track. Is there anything like specific in this game that you're like, I want to emphasize how amazing this part of the game is?
yes. And I touched on this earlier. And I know it's going to sound, it might be cringe.
Yeah.
But I really do like how much of Samus's personality is put into the gameplay and the cutscenes and like the
Yeah.
cinematics themselves. Like the way she handles each of the bosses is like you just see so much personality, even in the little movements where like she's just kind of taking it easy. Like when she jumps up the steps to get in the elevator and she kind of skips a step because Samus, it's like, oh, she's athletic, but she's kind of having fun with it. She's like, I'm gonna hop up the step and just wait in the elevator. And the way
She's having fun.
she's just having fun. Like this, it's her downtime. She's like,
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna take an elevator ride.
Mhm.
Like that's fun. Like there's so much personality and character that Mercury Steam brought forth in their animations, in their cinematics,
Yeah.
that I think really it's something subtle that you may notice, but it's not gonna register that like, oh wow, somebody had to like think about that and put that in.
Yeah.
It's not just it's not just how it was.
Yeah.
Like they wanted that to come through, and I think it did effectively.
Yeah. And it's
Even
like,
even if it takes maybe multiple playthroughs to notice those kind of things.
yeah. And it's something
Those kind of
that
things.
you bring up that I'm like, oh yeah, like that. She does have a lot of personality.
Yeah,
Because like she's a silent protagonist, and it's very hard to make a good silent character because you have to put all of their personality in the way they move. Like Link doesn't talk, and it's like maybe that's a part of why I didn't like that game so much. Is like I don't think there was as much emotion, and I can't compare it to a game that was made 30 years later, but there's so much emotion in Samus. And I think even in the older games, she has some emotion. It's hard to do it when it's pixel graphics like that, but I don't know. She's a good character. I like her.
Yeah, she has been developed well over her, oh boy, almost 40-year existence. Because like what
35,
When did Metroid 1 come out? Was that 1986?
86. Yeah.
That's
So
almost
36,
it'll be 3 years, 37.
37.
So yeah, almost 40 was
Yeah.
accurate.
I just knew that it hasn't been the 40th anniversary for Mario yet. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Mario 40.
Mario 40.
Super
Hey,
Mario
Super
40.
Mario 40 over here. Mario enters the twilight of his life.
The middle-aged man.
Middle-aged plumber jumps on turtles for a living. Anyway,
I wonder what we'll see then.
wonder. Well, I'll ask you the same question. What was something very specific that you really liked that like stood out to you in your playthroughs of Metroid Dread?
I really liked how, even though it is a very slow start for me with all the text wall, it feels good as soon as you can actually move her. Everything feels great. Even though you're getting Metroided in the beginning, you lose everything that you've ever built. Every single game you lose it immediately. It still feels good. There's a lot of other games who copy that Metroid style of, oh, you have all of these things from last game, but now we're going to take it all away from you because you need to build something up in this game. It still feels good. And other games will just feel kind of bad on purpose so you can feel good when you get more things unlocked. But this game, it feels good the entire time, and it just gets better and better and better. It really builds on itself. I love that.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of games actually do struggle with when you get to being powerful, you don't feel powerful.
Yeah.
When you run through those areas and you have all your beams and the screw attack and you can just jump into enemies, it feels
Yep.
fantastic.
Uh-huh.
Because you're like, man, I'm really just speeding through all this crap.
Yep.
And like, oh, that enemy that gave me trouble because I couldn't touch them now, screw attack.
Yep.
Screw attack, best item.
And there's no clunk to this game. There's nothing that I could think of right now that I'm like, oh yeah, this is a clunky game.
Yeah.
It's so smooth. It's so beautiful. I love it. There's one more thing I want to touch on for likes. I think this is a great game to jump into. If you've never played Metroid before and you're watching this podcast, not following along with the Backlog Club, because this is a club, we play it together, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. Play this game first. I think that there are a lot of good starting places in Metroid, and I'm typically the guy who's like, okay, I'm in a new series. I want to start with the first one. I think this is the spot to start with. I think there are a lot of good Metroid games to start with, but I think that this is the best one to start with. This is my recommendation if you're new to Metroid.
A lot of the older ones, especially if somebody's like, oh, you should play Super because that's the best one. That's the first one you should start with. This game does a better job than Super about kind of telling you where you need to go next.
Yes.
And a lot of people, that is a criticism I've seen of this game is, oh, it holds my hand too much and I'm not allowed to kind of explore and find things out on my own, which isn't true. This game just
Yeah.
does a really good job of being like, hey, this is a cool thing that you want to look at. Follow this. And
Yeah.
it is nailed naturally their intended path and where you want to go naturally become the same thing. It's really, really good at that.
Yeah. And like for me, I can still get lost in this game. Whenever you finish like a boss, like say Kraid, there's almost always a forked path. And I almost always take the wrong path. If I just like chose the other side, I'm like a couple steps away from Adam telling me what to do next. And
If you just chozoed the other side.
yeah, if I just had used my Chozo brain, that's like one of my complaints with this game is I I almost think it's not handholdy enough for that because I don't know. I'm also the type of guy who doesn't like no structure in a game. Like Super Mario 64, I don't like the structure of it because I'm not a huge sandbox guy. I want to know, okay, what star am I going for after this? I want to know, okay, what item should I go for next, Adam? Please tell me. And please tell me where Adam is now. Adam in this game, but
Ravenbeak, for those of you who should have played the game.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
if you just put a sign up, say, "Hey, you should probably go this way," but if you want to go somewhere else and explore and maybe find some of the hidden energy tanks and stuff, then do that. That's like my perfection in a game. Tell me where to go if I'm lost, but if not, I can go wherever if I want to.
Can I give you a tip?
Yeah.
Because there is a mechanic in the game where they do that.
Okay.
You know those butterflies that you'll see randomly floating around?
Yeah.
If there is a forked path, the butterflies are the way you're supposed to go.
What?
The Aeon butterflies are the critical path. If you follow where the butterflies, like the door the butterflies are in front of, but how are you going to know that?
That's what I was gonna say. I'm
Exactly.
like, when do they tell me that?
They don't. That's kind of one of those things where they don't hold your hand and they're like, hey, we hope you have a brain. I'm not saying you don't. I'm
Yeah.
not saying if that did confuse you. I agree. It is a little confusing. I found that out because somebody else figured it out. And I read that thing on the internet.
I would, yeah. See, like,
But now
that's just
that'll
what
help
I
you.
want.
That'll help you for subsequent playthroughs. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, the butterflies. That's where I'm supposed to go. I use that a lot in this last playthrough because I
Yeah.
would get lost because I'm just jumping around shooting stuff, trying to find the next hole in the wall or stinking bomb block that I'm supposed to
Yep.
cut through to get to this room. But yeah, the butterflies are your critical path.
See, if I would have known that, then like that. Now that I know that, that complaint is gone. I have a small complaint that they don't even just like a quick follow your nose for the fruity taste that shows. You know, just give me a line that's kind of okay. That maybe I should look out for butterflies if I'm lost. Even if there was just like a cutscene in the 20 minutes that you spend in the beginning that has like a butterfly going off one way and Samus follows it, just something.
Yeah, no, I understand, and
Yeah.
I'm inclined to agree.
That's why
I
I
also
had
know-
problems with Ocarina of Time.
That's just the classic Metroid kind of thing. Where
Yeah.
they're just like, hey, like we can't, like you're supposed to. They want you to put those pieces together yourself,
Yeah.
especially with like items. Like, oh, hey, this item can do that. Well, I can use that there. That maybe this item will work on that door that I saw like 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
That's especially how it's structured in Super.
And that's fine.
Like
but,
the wall jump in Super, you're supposed to figure out
yeah.
by watching the animals do it in the background.
Yeah.
They don't tell you what the controls are.
Yeah, it's just like there's no real hint. Give me a hint. That's all I ask.
Well, now you know.
Yeah.
Now you know that's a thing. And I agree with you. It probably should be more apparent like, oh, hey, Adam should be like, these strange butterflies seem to lead you towards interesting discoveries at a certain point if you're like struggling.
Yeah.
And I wish there was a way like after you've already talked to Adam and he's like explained something to you, you could go back to him and he would say it to you again, or he could give you like a hint.
Yeah. I mean, my problem isn't after Adam; it's before Adam. That's
what I mean. Is you could go
Yeah.
back to the last Adam
okay,
room,
Yeah.
and then he would be like, "Hey, you need to meet up with me in this section.
Yeah.
You need to go this way."
Mhm.
And he'll like maybe he'd put a marker on your map or say, "Oh, it's in this section of the map."
Yeah. And like even if you just like an option in the menu, like right below the difficulty setting, just like, do you want hints or not? I don't know, something simple like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 2023 or it's 2021. you can help us gamers out for the stupider ones out there. One of my complaints with this game, and it's definitely small, it's a bit of a nitpick, is there's too many of the robot and spear guys because I don't know, Metroid has always been good about having a wide variety of enemies, and whenever I just see, oh, I went from battling one robot to now there's two of them, and then there's one guy that's a silver spear guy, and now he's gold. Ooh, I don't know. It just seems very repetitive.
I think for me, it's a progression of Samus, how she's powering up through those games.
Yeah,
But I could see with one or two of them maybe being taken out. Like especially
Yeah.
like the very first one you fight in the ice cave, and then I know there's another one after that, I think.
yeah,
Get rid of that one and just keep the red guy and the gold guy.
yeah.
I think that's totally fine. Because those scenes where she drains them of their energy,
It's
as
cool.
it's cool. It's a cool progression.
Yeah,
Like maybe just have just those three do more damage or just be
yeah.
harder fights.
Just even differentiate them a little bit, because like the Emmy is the focal point of this game. Each of those has different things that they do that make them stand out other than just their color.
Mm-hmm.
And I love and hate the Emmys at the same time because they are difficult to evade, and I'm not a fan of evading bosses constantly until now I've got the thing that can kill them. Actually, now I can beat them.
Yeah,
But
finding that one stretch of the room that they're in where you can actually like knock off their faceplate.
Yeah.
And then I know, and this is a trick I did use, when you stagger them by burning off their faceplate, if you
Mhm.
have enough distance, like while they are like recoiling from that, if you immediately start charging that Omega shot,
Yeah.
you can just you can fire it basically before they can even move.
Mhm.
But I know a lot of us when we were playing the game for the first time, if you did, you probably didn't know that.
Yeah.
And also like you're then like, okay, I got to run around and create enough distance to where I can shoot them in the face again and
Yeah.
actually like destroy them. And it's tense.
It's
Especially
tense.
the purple Emmy when you have to like do bomb blocks and then like it's stressful. Like
But I mean, we'll talk about that next episode, but that's the kind of stress in games that I like. I like feeling like if I don't do this, it's game over, even though it's probably not the way to go. I don't know. Maybe I know not everybody likes stressful parts in games, but I like having the do or die situation, and then because the satisfaction of beating an Emmy is good.
mhm. Well, and I think the difference for me is because I'm not somebody who likes stress in video or likes being overly stressed in video games.
Hmm.
I think what's different about the Emmy for me, because this may sound, I got to be careful. I don't want to sound hypocritical going into episode 3 when we talk about that.
Yeah,
But I think what's different for me is there is a clear direction as to what you are supposed to be doing.
yeah,
It's very clear. You shoot the faceplate off, you hit him in the face. It's stressful because you have to figure out how to make that happen.
yeah.
Like they give you all the tools, figure it out.
Hmm.
Other games say, all right, you are put under a time limit. It is stressful. We're not going to tell you anything aside from a couple things how to make things just go a little bit faster.
Yeah,
We're not going to point you in the right direction at all, unless you're somehow micromanaging or multitasking like an absolute demon.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
it's a good stress.
I think this game hits that well, and it's a horror element, but it
Yeah.
hits that good stress
Yeah.
horror element very well because I'm not a fan of horror games.
No.
I
Mm-mm.
am a big baby.
Yep.
I am a big baby with an overactive imagination. I like sleeping as well, so I watch people play horror games and I'm still affected, so I don't mess with them really.
I just don't like jump scares, but like horror elements, I just make fun of their inaccuracy,
Yeah.
and that gets me through it. I'm not actually scared of anything.
That's my coping mechanism.
Yeah, we don't
Except
need to talk about that though.
there is no coping with the Emmy. It's more just like,
Yeah.
no, that's just scary. They're just running at me. It can freeze me. It can hit me through walls.
Yeah, we kind of went over like with our likes and dislikes what they can improve, but what do you want to see next? Like, what do you think this is it? Metroid 5 is the last 2D Metroid, or if there is going to be a Metroid 6, what do you want to see?
Well, I'd like to see Samus not get bonked on the head and lose all her powers.
Could we keep everything for once?
She could lose some. Maybe I'd like to see them explore more of the Chozo.
Mm-hmm.
They don't necessarily have to explore her relationship with Ravenbeak, given the fact that he is literally disintegrated by her Omega Beam.
Yeah.
I think I'd just like more of the crisp gameplay from Dread, more environments. Maybe have the game be a little bit longer. Maybe, just some more advanced mechanics. I would be okay if they took what they have here and they iterated. I know this is the end of like the Metroid saga in Metroid, which sounds funny, but I think it's fitting given this game ends with Samus being the last Metroid in the galaxy. She's now actually, it's
the only
ironic.
one.
Well, she's now the only one, but now she's actually like because people would say, like they call Master Chief, they call him Halo,
Yeah.
but now and then they call her Metroid.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, the Metroid guy, like Metroid.
Because
So-
that was my question: is at what point can we still call this Metroid as a series? But
Mhm.
if
Well,
she is the last Metroid, then
you can call it's about the last Metroid.
Yeah.
So I think it would be interesting to explore to bring back the space pirates. I know they weren't a lot, but bring back the space pirates. Maybe bring in some supporting cast, more people for Samus to interact with.
yeah,
'Cause I like that. I like the interactions in with Quiet Robe in this game. But from the next 2D Metroid, I think just iteration, more side characters,
yeah,
just whatever they can come up with because their Mercury Steam is killing it right now.
yeah. I just want another one. I just want another Metroid
Just
game.
more of the
Just
same, man.
Don't make me wait another 20 years. But I guess preferably, honestly, because I don't know really what they could do more with the story, the lack of story, whatever you want to call it. But like I said in the beginning, I just want all of them remade in this Metroid Dread style. Update Samus Returns as a Switch game or a Switch 2 game. Make Super Metroid Zero Mission and Fusion in this style. Maybe just add a little bit to it, like how Zero Mission had the Zero Mission. It does
Yeah.
have, it's a different game from the original. There's a little bit more added to it at the end, too. I think something like that would just be perfect. But I still would really like a sequel. I don't know what they could do with it.
No, I agree. And please put it on better hardware so that it can look even better
Yeah.
and run even better.
It looks good. I think the only performance issues I had was when it was loading, and I think it's a little long a load time, but it's
but it's a cool
not
it's a
that
cool
bad.
thing to watch. So I'm totally I'm good with it. I just want Nintendo to actually be like a heavy hitter in the console race again. I want them to push. I just want Metroid to look even better.
Yeah.
Because it looks fantastic now. We can always go up.
I'm more of a gameplay over graphics guy, anyways.
Okay, don't put me in the graphics over gameplay camp. Don't you do that. That's not what I'm saying.
Nintendo has survived off of making good games. Xbox has survived because Microsoft has a lot of money.
Yeah. They're going to survive because they now own Candy Crush.
Yeah. I think is there anything else you want to mention? You want to talk about?
No. I think that is that wraps up all my thoughts on Metroid Dread. I give it 10 Metroids out of 10 Ridleys.
X marks the spot for me.
There you go.
Next week, we are talking about Pikmin 1. So go play Pikmin 1 if you haven't already. I love the game. Jordan does not.
Sorry, guys.
So we're going to have with the tables, the turntables are going to turn.
My, how the turntables have.
And I will be the one in the defense position, and Jordan will be lovingly attacking one of my favorite games.
I will be the critical one.
Yeah. Yeah. So if
I
you're
told you I had hot takes.
Figure out which side you're on. Maybe you're just indifferent and we're yelling over a little man named Malamar. Go play that game and come back next week. Or if you want to go watch it right now, it's live on the Patreon. So
only $5 a month.
Only $5 a month. Super cheap.
You get more of this and more of that over there. You get more of this.
Yeah, you might want to spend that $5 on a coffee in the morning. We'll wake you up.
It's at noon.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get your coffee.
Okay, maybe most of the world is awake at that point, but watch it on Sunday.
No, not us gamers.
Watch it on Sunday morning. I don't know. Yeah, I woke up at 11 today.
Without Chick-fil-A though, because they're closed on Sunday.
Yeah,
makes me sad because I forget.
We don't have a Chick-fil-A around here.
We're gonna continue talking about how much we love Chick-fil-A, but you should go play Pikmin 1, just like Jake said. And I think that concludes episode 2 of the Backlog Club. Don't you forget about us. And until next